watching.
Hey,
She's
you
probably
watching the
calling
show?
in just to make sure that he's doing his part, to make sure he's on
Yeah,
time.
I
He's
just
trying to
answered
talk to
live
his
on the
mom,
air.
and I'm just chirping him.
Hold on, you got to say hi to the people now.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, how everyone?
Hey, mama. She can't hear me.
They say, they say, hey, mama.
Oh my God, I want to with you.
Yeah, this my mama. This is the love of my life. Opposite of my wife. But yeah, mom, I'm on air. I call you back. It's okay? Everything okay?
Okay, I love you.
Everything okay?
Everything's fine. I was going to answer your question about the fruit.
Oh, okay. All right, I got you. All right, love you, mom. All right. Yeah, my mama.
Oh, no. Oh, I knew this was
mama
coming.
call.
I knew this was coming. Hey, hello?
Uh-oh.
I knew it. I was like, if I don't answer, I'm gonna be up paddle, up Shit's Creek without
Hey,
paddle.
mom. Hey, mama.
If he famous as mama calls, I'ma call. Hi guys. Love
Hey,
y'all.
mama. We love you too. Thank you for all the support.
Well, this show's off the rails. We're trying to be a professional show, guys.
We are professional.
Hey, mamas are important.
That's
We
true.
just had Mother's Day.
Answering mama's calls.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Take
All right, love
wait.
you guys.
Hot take, mom. Hot take. How many wins did the Gators get this year?
Oh Lord. For the football team, because my
Yes, mom. Football.
Football, we're gonna go. How many games they play?
12.
That's what I thought. So I'm gonna go 10-2.
Okay.
Ooh,
Optimistic.
okay,
She's
Mom.
more pessimistic than I am.
Okay.
On the football. She's like, I've been watching them forever. They're not gonna do it this year. That's my mom.
That's a good pessimism number.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. That's 10-2
dope.
is pretty solid. She might have been drinking too much of the Kool-Aid.
Pessimistic, sorry. Yeah.
All right.
Nice to your mother.
Love you.
All right.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's dope.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, mama call. I got to pick up. Sorry, bro.
Kitty says, how many sacks? We just start asking our mom's hot takes.
right. We'll bring both of them on the show next.
It's a whole segment. It's a whole segment.
Yeah,
Moms
right.
predict the 2025
Yeah, moms
schedule.
and gators. Gators and moms or something.
I love it. That's awesome. Quick little thing. Coach Sale, if anyone remembers, not Sale, excuse me, Coach Couch. Sorry, Coach Couch, special teams coordinator. This young man got dragged through the ringer, not last year, but year prior. He kind of basically went off the scale, but this man was being dragged on Twitter a year and a half ago because of us having like 16 guys on the football field. He has now accepted a job at Houston. So honestly, good.
Yeah.
Go find a new one. It's needed. Nobody wanted him.
I ain't gonna do it to him.
Poor
But
kid. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I
happy
know,
for him.
right?
Happy. Found it.
Listen, man. Florida is about the particulars, man. That's just when you mess up like that. Not saying that's why he's gone, but it's never gonna leave you. That's all.
Yeah,
I'm saying.
I think he'll be good. I think it'll be forgotten.
Yeah.
I think they tucked him away and said, let's just not. You just can't go outside for the rest of the.
It'll be forgotten there. Yeah.
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 $20 from a man high top Brook. Moms are awesome like that. Yeah, they're pretty sweet, man.
For sure.
Shout out to the moms for barging in there. Quick, let's take a look.
Matter of fact, y'all make sure y'all call y'all mama after the show, man, telling you love them. If you're still here.
That's a solid point. Now you're make me can't call my mom again. She gets mad at me. I don't call enough. So.
Right.
So we have to. The Sully thing for me, I've grown up around baseball, so the way that I view baseball is, I mean, even when people panic with the season, like baseball for me is I love the game. It's like it's one of my first loves. So my passion and love for it is much different than others. Apparently what happened was they wanted to move the game from 12 to 1 p.m. because Eastern Carolina's game ran a little long. And then Sully took it to just kind of rip into anybody that would listen to him. It's kind of how this thing's unfolding. And just the FUs and the suck that's and the all kinds of whatnots to basically everybody that was working that day at Coastal Carolina, excuse me, because that's where the game was being hosted.
Yeah, Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, people are panicking and freaking out about it. And not that I condone anybody acting in that manner. I don't think that you should. But for me, if you were to say, "Hey, what are your thoughts on it?" For growing up around the baseball world, like
Man.
it's like a Tuesday afternoon. Like that's just how those coaches like they're
Yeah.
wired. And
Yeah.
like you can't excuse those kind of actions. Listen, this is just the way these cats are. Like
Yeah.
the old manager, those guys they're
Oh no,
crazy.
they let it fly. Oh,
Yeah,
they let it fly. You
they
got
are
to be at some of these games. They let it fly, boy. It's
you
like
don't
their
you're
only
not
thing, only defense
yeah,
in
you're
some
not 50
situations.
years old looking like that with that kind of vascular coming out of your neck, okay? You got some juices flowing
Yeah.
that none of us can understand, okay? And you need
Yeah.
to be able to function and operate with the other juices that are flowing in the dugout. So,
Mm-hmm.
look, I don't condone those actions. He came out with some kind of fluff apology. Let's move on. He ripped a few. I look, mad respect to the Coastal Carolina coach for kind of having the kahunas, because that's again how he handled. I don't know if anyone saw his response. He basically was saying like, "Listen, I need to get this off my chest. The way that he managed himself, the way he conducted himself was disgusting. It was a disgrace. You were." I respected the hell out of that. Like that's how these
Yeah.
coaches talk. Like there is no coach talk, if you will. It is very locker room esque. Like f you, f that, like whatever. And I think that's where people are kind of misunderstanding is like was Sully being
The
an
culture of
a-hole
the
about it?
yeah.
There's like a level of like baseball a-hole of like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like they kind of
He
function
might
on
have
a
went
different
over the
tier
line a little bit, but it's not that far
on a baseball line.
from where yeah, it's not that far on the baseball line. But
Yeah.
he may have went he of course he went over the line, but it's not that far in the baseball world.
That's how I look at
But
it. You
you
may
know,
people may not like it and say
news
that's it's on
flashes are everywhere. Yeah.
yeah, I just think because everything again, I've grown up around it. I mean, my neighbor he coached the Flagler baseball team and he was, I would say, calm for a baseball coach. And I would see him pop off, especially like you're just looking to get pissed off at somebody, especially coaching a bunch of college kids, just act like doofuses. Like
What was
you
the
look
name of that baseball team?
that he yelled at.
No, that you said
Mine,
he coached the yeah.
Flagler.
Oh, I thought you said Fockers. y'all the
When
little
I said it and
Fockers.
you paused, I thought you were gonna
That would've
I
been
thought you were gonna
funny.
go I thought you were gonna say something else.
No.
This show's
You
this
crazy,
show's
bro.
this show's off to the off the
Look, that's what you get
we need Dave
for
back.
making Memorial Day so important. No, just playing. No, man. Yeah, speaking of that, man, happy Memorial Day, guys. We didn't get to tell y'all that, so.
Yeah, Steve's like, "Hey, can we take the day off?" I was like, "Yeah, whatever, man, that's fine." Sully sounded like me watching Marlins. Like, look, we've all been there, you know.
Oh yeah.
That coach sounded like a woman. Look, I think he was a bit aggressive, but I appreciate the coach for calling. Look, if you don't like the way that your other coaches are treating your people, we got to speak up, and that was where I respected it.
Yeah.
Super chat
Listen,
from Mama.
I would have loved to hear some of the baseball commentary years and years ago, the way they be ripping each other, man.
Oh,
I
man.
mean, it just gets ridiculous, kid.
It's
Spitting in each other's face, nothing but dip and skull, Copenhagen, wintergreen.
dude, that's just how they function, man. Like,
Grizzly.
you ever see the
Yeah.
guy get thrown out for like a guy got thrown out last night for like it's like umpire thought he tapped his head, which is kind of like mimicking a motion. And they're not allowed to do
Mhm.
that, so he threw him out. And dude, the player was getting ready to wrestle the umpire. He had like 6 guys pulling back. I was like, "What are we, dude? It's nuts!" Like watching these like baseball players lose their mind. Dude. It's
Yeah,
I
nah,
love
yeah.
it. I love it. It's to me, it's what makes it fun. But all right, Mama $2 says, "Yep, call your mama. They love you, absolutely." And then $5 says, "Caden Hall, 4-star safety from Milton, Florida to the swamp, bring him home." Yeah, we talked
To the
about that on
swamp.
yesterday's show. But
Come
yeah,
on,
big time
Hall.
safety. Leading the way here. Florida is looking good. But let's talk about a couple of things here, man. So this was an interesting one. When I saw this come across my screen, I wanted to kind of freak out for a minute. And I'm gonna let you take the bait first, and then I'll go. Let me get his exact quote here. Go ahead.
You know I'll be ready for this.
Yeah, I know. He breaks down how the Big Ten has surpassed the SEC in college football. In all things. He look, he says you're starting to look at the narrative the SEC has built up over the last few years. In the last year, it started to crumble after rattling off the SEC losses to both Big Ten and Notre Dame in last year's postseason. That include Notre Dame beating Georgia, and then of course the Buckeyes beating Tennessee, and then Alabama losing to Michigan, and back-to-back bowl wins. Obviously the year prior, and then going into this year. And look, this is an interesting take. The SEC in particular, the best program. The reason why this quote's important because I'm going to talk about later on. The SEC in particular and the best programs within the SEC can no longer just stockpile talent and keep them as backups and even third stringers all the time. But now, rather than sitting as a backup at Alabama, you can go elsewhere and be a starter at other programs and make six figures. And so the talent is just not sitting there. The depth of talent is now dispersing across the country. And what you see is when this happens, it rewards teams that can play quality football at the line of scrimmage and retain talent and get veterans within the organizations. That's what Michigan did. That's what Ohio State did. In part, just kind of the overarching shift of where college football has gone, which allowed the talent to not get too really bogged down in one region. Now all those players are going all over for more opportunities, more starting spots. A lot of interesting takes there. Yeah. There are back-to-back defending champions. I'll let you sound off first, and then we can go from there, big guy. I didn't say it, so don't yell at me.
Yeah, it's backloaded with the good information. The front half is just them trying to give hope to some other conferences. SEC still reigns supreme when it comes to college football. I hear what he's saying, and then giving the stats of the bowl games and the losses by the SEC. One thing about the SEC, some of these bowl games, if you're not playing for the championship, it's not a championship game. Some of these guys are not, playing as hard. So with the ReliaQuest Bowl, that's what they were in, right?
Who? Michigan?
Michigan and Alabama.
Yeah, that bowl didn't count. I agree.
Right. So if you're Alabama,
look, to his point though, Ohio State, Tennessee and Georgia did lose. But continue.
And I'm gonna get to those. You got
Texas fell short.
The transfer portal and paying players did play a big role in that. But we discussed that with teams that were fringe teams that had a lot of seniors and juniors on those rosters. Now they're being able to add just a couple pieces here, and that continuity meaning a lot. We're talking, so when you get to a team like Michigan and stuff like that, they're starting to turn on again, but they were backloaded with people that were probably going to be juniors going into seniors, redshirt seniors and stuff like that, and they just sprinkle in a little bit of talent here. But then you give the conference that they play in, you're not playing high-end talent all season long. So you take into account of some injuries from some of these SEC schools and all of that. And then you get to the end of the year and they were able to sprinkle in some talent. All of that's going to settle itself out here now. We had COVID years. We had all kind of things going on, which made it difficult for the top teams to still keep a grasp on these players. But every team didn't need the top player. They just needed a sprinkle here and there. But all that's gonna fizzle out. Michigan, per se, Michigan to me by itself, you still got to develop players. You know what I mean? You still got to develop these players. I think their quarterback was a senior. The first 3 games they played, he threw 6 interceptions. They benched him for a redshirt sophomore. The redshirt sophomore went in there. So then they brought in the true freshman or something like that. So you got to develop these guys. And so there's no way for me, you're saying that this conference is just better now when you look at a team like that who had a senior and in 3 games he throws 6 interceptions and you bench him for a sophomore. That speaks more louder to me about the program than it is just throwing players everywhere. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I think over time it's going to work itself out. We're kind of in that position right now at Florida because we have a lot of players who stayed in. Now they're up as juniors, seniors coming into this season now. But we did it the opposite way where we're allowing our freshmen to develop And now we did bring in 1 or 2 players from the portal to help the offense, but we're going to be relying on freshmen now to come in and sprinkle and develop. So that way you can keep the ball rolling that way. You can't just keep digging in the portal. That's not a sustainable thing. And, I just don't. I understand what he's saying about being able to get those players, but it's going to work itself out towards the end of this thing.
Yeah, so I took a look at it because taking the title or the crown from somebody, always trying to crown the next top conference is kind of just the way we function as a society as of late. So I pulled up the last, I mean, from 2000 till now, the champions. And when you look at it,
We
from
got 9 of them, probably.
SEC has 16 of them for the last 25 years.
Yeah.
So more than 50%. But that's the easy way of looking at it. So I was trying to take a step back and say, look, you throw that number out, sure, that's the easy way. But if you look at kind of from 2000 to 2005, the SEC only had, they split one with USC in 2003, but it was Big 12, Big East, Big 10, Pac-10, Big 12, and then Florida won in 2006. And that was the start of the SEC run, because then the SEC went on to win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row. And then at that point in my eyes, established dominance. That was when the SEC really became its own. Then the ACC won, Big 10 won, then SEC, ACC, SEC, ACC, then SEC rallied off 4 in a row once again. And now we're seeing Big 10 go back to back. So even if you want to take, again, how you look at the last 5 years, okay, well, SEC still has 3 of the last 5.
Right.
Now, if we want to look at a projection, I like his thought process on that because of what the Big Ten done as the last 2 years, and the way they won the championship is they, like he said, they were able to maintain a veteran presence, right? And I say that Penn State is my team for the Big Ten this year that is embodying what those two teams did last year. Exactly. And when you look at the Big Ten, the Penn State looks really good. Oregon looks really good. Oregon looks like they're going to be good for quite some time. Ohio State is back in that. I mean, they never really left it, but they're looking there. Michigan is appearing to be going in the right direction. I still think there's a lot of hurdles they have to overcome, right? If USC of the world can get back to what it could be, then all of a sudden the Big Ten is in this conversation. But it's the same thing. It goes back to the same conversation of when Kirby goes and wins 2. Is it hey, is this a dynasty? Is he better than Saban? Is he not better, but is he on that path? We want to automatically start doing it. You need a few more, in my opinion, for the Big Ten. But I do believe that the pillars are there for the Big Ten to make a genuine run. You've changed the championship format, which we don't know who it's going to help as of now. I would argue that in the years past, when there's only 4, was it beneficial more for the SEC with strength of schedule? For sure. We could probably squeeze in 2 more teams than other conferences. You're not going to get that way now. You're going to be able to throw in and cast some of these guys in. And and look, both teams got to play. One's got to travel south, one's got to travel north. And you could have a Tennessee get absolutely walloped at Ohio State, right? So it's opening things up now. He says Notre Dame. Notre Dame doesn't play in any of these conferences. I mean, I would probably tag them more towards the ACC.
Yeah, they're independent.
Yeah, as of now. But look, it seems egregious at kind of at first glance, and it kind of seems like clickbait. I love Joel Klatt, and I see some of you not a fan.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of him. I think he has. I like his takes. I think that he approaches them from a healthy manner. I do think this one's still a little bit early on, but I like there's legs there. Yeah, there's legs there.
He made some valid points. I just know that he knows that it's not there yet. But if you can pull any, I mean, you got to do some commentary and you got to pull something to get something. You know what I mean? And given the facts that he laid out, he was able to make an argument for it.
Look, if you look at coaches too, we did an exercise, a little game on our show yesterday or this morning.
Yeah, that was
on who to bench or
cut.
That
was another thing you said, coaches. Yeah.
Yeah, I said, man, if you go to the Big Ten, we had said, hey, do you bench DeBoer, Kirby, or Sark? And I was like, it kind of feels like it's a no-brainer that it's DeBoer. If you go to the Big Ten and you put up James Franklin, Dan Lanning, and Ryan Day, that's a conversation. You really don't know. And so when you look at it from that perspective,
go with, though?
We're gonna have to save it for next Monday. I can't spoil that here, but we're gonna do it next Monday because it was such a great conversation. I was like, that is a really fun one.
Yeah,
that's where I also look at the Big Ten. It's the coaching quality right now appears to be in that thing. And 5 Adams says Joel Klatt is biased. Look, we're all biased. That's what's hard about this. Look, I'm obviously at Florida SEC biased. that doesn't mean that I can't have you know, a nice, healthy approach
My
to a situation. There's still gonna be a bias towards it, but to try to
yeah,
remove yourself and look, if I'm in Klatt's position, I'm gonna look and try to argue for
you have to.
a conference that I support in a
Yeah, you
healthy
have to.
manner.
For sure. No, you have to. That's why, and my bias is not just so much. I'm a geographical location guy. I just feel like football played in the South is just different.
Sure,
Whether it's Texas or maybe, and if USC can get back on board because they got
they play a
sunshine. I
unique kind of
think
ball.
playing in the sun it just
You think it's just
when
dark
you
up
can
there
play
in
in
the
the
north?
sun year round, it's just totally different. Then so
Our
I
skin's a
just
little
think guys,
crustier, it's a little leathier.
yeah, and recruiting. You got guys from Florida. Florida is the number one place for football. The number one place you want to get high school recruits out of. Florida's a hotbed. Georgia's the state is a hotbed. Texas is a hotbed, and these guys come from the weather that's like that. So when it comes into recruiting, um, I think you're going to get the most talent in these regions because it's what guys are familiar with. It's tough to go somewhere when you from Florida, going to the cold, going to a school where it snows or just gloomy looking half of the year. You don't see no palm trees. There's no beach near nowhere near around. Mentally, a lot of guys are not able to go and do that. And give it their all, or it's just a big shock to them. So I feel like any of these schools that are in the South or on the coast has you know,
It's a
I
different
just never
vibe,
been.
different feeling.
I just always thought the football played up north was different, and they play each other, so it looks good on TV for a little while until you meet a team that's, you know what I mean. It's always been like that.
I think so. Back in the day, I think that was much more of a factor with the NIL and just the
It changes,
technology.
yeah.
Yeah, I just guys practicing inside more, the ability to travel and go somewhere and train. Like these cats aren't staying in Ohio through year in and year out. So as much as look, I think when you played, that was a factor. That was definitely a part of it. I think that's going away though. I really do. I just think that
I
it's
think
there's
enough
this
money, but for a Florida kid, not even
we
just the
got to get better
training,
at
just
keeping those
living,
kids
just
in the states.
just living,
If
just
we just
yeah.
lock down this quadrant from recruiting and don't let a Jeremiah Smith go to Ohio State, then we're not having this conversation, and that falls on us.
But that's why Ohio has a payer bag like that for a jersey because you going to Ohio is just a different quality of living. And then you're away from your family, so that needs to be accommodated. So I think the SEC is going to always have a hold on college football as long as everybody can pay. I think it's going to continue to be like that, and the most talent is going to always stay in this area.
Look, I think right now, I mean, this year, the Big Ten overall, I think, is more favored to win the championship as of now because I think Ohio
More
State,
pass.
Michigan,
Yeah.
and Penn State and Oregon, they're probably four of your top 10 teams. Maybe not Michigan, but definitely the other ones are three of the top 10 teams. And then Clemson's up there, and then you still have a ton of SEC teams, so I can't really say that. But I would say more highly favorable. I would put the Big Ten as of now. But
I
look,
like Penn State though. I
yeah,
like the way they looked last year. I like the way they played the game.
not sold on
I
James, but
think
I think they went and
I'm
had some great
I'm on
pieces.
you with this one for them this season coming up. I like Penn State.
Yeah, they should be good. Look, great conversation. I mean, I know people were kind of upset about it. I liked it. I thought it was a fun, healthy conversation. So I love
Yeah.
it.
Nah.
Gets me riled up. All right, look, let's talk about this, man. So we had a big weekend
Mhm.
this weekend. We get a offensive line commit. We get a few crystal balls for a safety, a couple DBs, a couple defensive linemen, and some more offensive linemen. And we were talking about it in the Discord today with one of our guys, Woods. I don't know that's not his name, so I didn't really break anything there. But he kind of mentioned this a possibility where Florida isn't going to go after 22 guys in this recruiting class. Focus more on a handful of guys and then focus on the portal as of next year due to the youth on the team, right? Not expecting a lot of movement. Now, that to me is a big ask for guys to stay. But if you kind of look at this recruiting visits and the guys that we're trending for, it kind of makes sense. And honestly, it's something that I've been saying a lot. I've been saying very loudly. For me,
Mhm.
in the portal, I think running backs are a dime a dozen, and I think wide receivers to an extent can be. If you look at our best wide receivers of the last couple of years, where did they come from? They came from the portal. What I mean by that is you can go and get a really good wide receiver at a lower tier school to have the success that you need them to have if you can evaluate it properly. It transitions better from conferences, if you will. I think playing in
Mm-hmm.
those skilled positions. Now, sure, the DBs are a little bit better, things like that. But if you're just an all out freak athlete, you can overcome those things by playing in the SEC or the Big Ten, right? So the point of it is, and my point that I was making, and you kind of look at it, is it looks like, and if you look at our team, Florida seems to be recruiting very defensive heavy, right? And what I see that is like DBs are those don't transition as well, right? They haven't seemed
Yeah.
that is more of a developmental piece. Safety, a developmental piece. The defensive line, we did have, I would say, Caleb Banks. Was it Caleb Banks? Yeah, Banks transferred,
Mm-hmm.
but in a way we developed him. I don't really count that as. And Cam Jackson is more of a transfer, right? But even still, took 2
Yeah.
years to really find his footing. And those are the trenches are where you want to develop, where you can plug in a wide receiver, a running back, right, from the portal. You want to make sure that you develop, i.e., recruit, quarterback always, the trenches, and then it looks like for Florida, where their hot piece right now, really heavy on safety, cornerbacks, and linebackers, and of course, defensive linemen as well too. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see if kind of this perspective or this outlook of how they're approaching it. But it appears that, look, if they do go for 15 guys, at 14 to 16 recruits this year, because they're going to be more heavily towards the portal in the next class. Also keep in mind think about the offense. Wide receiver room, it's
To the
not
roof.
going anywhere anytime soon.
No.
Outside of
Yeah.
Studervit, who will be leaving, UG Wilson technically can come back for another year, which I imagine he probably will, right? So that room is very thick. So I wouldn't expect us to get. Look, if you can go get me one or two 5-stars, that's perfect. We don't need 5 wide receivers this class. The
Right.
running back room is voluptuous with
Yeah.
talent. You go get one guy, you're good for this one. You get your one quarterback, because that quarterback room is kind of thick now when you really look at it, and then go
Mhm.
get other pieces like DBs that are falling like flies. So it's an interesting thought. We'll monitor it. But if you look at the list of this weekend and top trending guys, it's everything that I just said.
Yeah. No, yeah. It makes sense for the way our team is set up. Like you said, we're just loaded at certain positions, and these guys have shown us flashes that, hey man, if we just continue to develop these guys, they're going to be great. I think we did a great job just in our initial evaluations of these young guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And making sure we got the quality guys and not just anybody, so that you can strike like that. You can be hot and loaded like that, where you got flashes from all these guys, and it's so many people saying, "No, this person's gonna break out. No, this person's gonna break out. Hey, don't forget about this person." Like, you know what I mean? It's a great situation, but the trenches is always gonna be very important. And I think we're doing it right by that. But I think it's not just a strategy you stay with and just keep going with that strategy. I just think that
It's
we've
going to be
done such a
evolving.
we've done a great job with the young guys, that we're in this position. It's almost a position of luxury at this point, to where you can pinpoint the needs that you need and fill those, you know what I mean? And you have, I
The
guess,
portal allows you to function differently, because
yeah,
if you can approach it that way and know that, hey, here's what we're going to be targeting come portal time. Here's the other thing that was interesting to me.
you
When
got
he
to have a
said
quarterback to start it.
that's the biggest thing. But he said that they feel confident in guys staying. And so when you think about that,
Right.
they obviously just signed a bunch of guys. And I wonder, we're hearing about this cap space. Obviously, the call for contracts, if you will, has been a big thing. And Billy, I would say, to pat him on the back, has done well, I would say, of staying ahead of the curve. And I
Mhm.
wouldn't be surprised if some of these guys that sign now, again, what is that keeping them from pulling out of it? I don't know. I'm talking out loud. I'm thinking out loud here of maybe there is some kind of, they signed something to lock these guys into where they feel confident enough to where, hey, we don't have to go extremely aggressive because they won't have the space. Keep in mind, if they only go after so many guys in the recruiting class, that's because they only have so many scholarships to hand out. And if they're locking
Mhm.
these spots in, they feel confident in these guys and say, hey, we know we're going to need filled holes, but we feel better at filling these holes in this era. It's kind of like, hey, here's the draft class. I'm not a huge
Right.
fan of these pieces of need in this draft class, but free agency looks pretty good.
Yeah. He, I think what Florida has been doing a great job with, honestly, overall, is finding champion mindset people. You know what I mean? The money is good, But there's still a lot of kids out there that have won championships, compete at a high level, and want to win still. You know what I mean? And it's just not about the dollars. And if they could do it with people they play with in these different leagues, and you know what I mean?
Sure.
And once you get a ball rolling like that, and these young guys are coming in and playing together, I think that energy about us right now, that togetherness is big and is missing at a lot of places. And we struck gold with some of these young guys. And you got a guy like DJ. And I think we just went about it the correct way. I think a lot of teams were so far behind the 8 ball that they went so heavy in the portal that it's kind of messed up the camaraderie on their team. And you know, and just like the vibes from this weekend, from the recruiting, seeing all the reports and how excited the players were, the high schoolers, to say something on wax about Florida and their experience. I think a lot of places not gonna have that energy like that, because you got a lot of guys that don't know each other with money that are loners now. I think it you know what I mean? I think
Sure.
that's definitely gonna show a lot. And I think I'm glad at the position Florida's in and that approach for us to stack the trenches, get these linemen in, be heavy on defense, because you're gonna, like you said, you can find these offensive pieces, especially if you got a quarterback like DJ and he's young. You're gonna find these offensive pieces. As long as the lines are in place, you know what I mean, we'll be good. And then you got a coach like Coach Chapman, that the NFL wanted, coaching your defensive line. That's attractive. And you got Coach Sell and those guys doing their thing on the offensive line, getting bricks put out in front of the stadium. You know what I mean? I shout out to Coach Sale, man. Hollered at him the other day, man. He said it's just the beginning, man. Said it's just the beginning. So I'm excited.
Yeah, man. Again, the hype's been through the roof from multiple people on this team, and look, it's exciting to see what they're building. And speaking of building, when we were talking about this, putting it all together, it's kind of cool-ish to see, because obviously we followed this team for quite some time now. We followed the recruiting class, and I was kind of just I'm always looking through these things, and it's like, this is kind of a cool little fun fact, if you will. I don't know how you want to describe this, but the 2023 recruiting class, which was his first official, 2022 was his first year, but he got here in December, so it wasn't a full cycle, right? 2023 was his full cycle. I remember that class being criticized very much because it was his first cycle. It's like, hey, who can this guy be? I think it ended up finished 13th, I believe. Yeah, 13th overall. So your first full cycle, he comes in and said, if you can't have a top recruiting class, Billy got thrashed for this recruiting class, is what I'm trying to get at, because it didn't finish the way that we all intended that it should, especially being at Florida. But if you take a look at it, it's kind of coming clutch. Outside of what's crazy is the two top guys were Jakeem Jackson and Kelby Collins, who are no longer there. Kind of crazy to think if we could have maintained them. Kelby really didn't. I would say show flashes. I love Jakeem. I think I would have loved to try to keep him, but it is what it is. Next up, we have Cameron James. Cameron James is an interesting one because it's not a name that we've talked about. When we talk about the defensive line, I haven't mentioned him much. 6'6",
which is crazy.
265. Right? Like, am I missing? No, Cameron James comes off the edge.
He's edge.
Just kidding.
Well,
yeah. Just kidding. I don't know what I thought there. So Cameron James, obviously, massive piece coming off the edge, who I've loved.
Yeah.
For some reason, I'm like, he says he's.
I was finna say, yeah.
labeled as a D line, but he plays the edge. That's why I was confused.
Yeah.
He doesn't play. Okay. So we know the factor that he's been obviously now lining up with Gums, Sapp. Cameron James is, and again, when we lost TJ Searcy, who was also in this class, and Jack Pyburn, I was kind of, everyone's kind of worried, but I was like, look, Cameron James flies over.
He turned it on.
Yeah.
He turned it on.
I love what he does. So that's a third recruited class. Then you have Eugene Wilson. I don't need to go any further in that. Roger Kearney, who's expected to have a big impact this year. Somebody who's been just really grinding in the trenches, waiting his time, waiting for his moment. He's going to have 2 more years under his belt because he redshirted, and I fully expect him to be there for the next 2 years. Whether, again, we're losing Jake Slaughter at center next year, but if Big Rod can really step into that, you got to feel really good about the fact that we're getting a guy that's been really waiting to. And again, if you're not starting over Jake Slaughter, there's a person. Yeah. Dejon Johnson, cornerback, somebody who we were on the ropes of losing here just a couple weeks ago. But we talked about it when we were on the ropes of how much of an impact he made last year and how much quality and depth that he's going to bring going into this season, right? Going into his third year. Aiden Mizell, another one from this class. TJ Searcy, Although he's not there, but we know what he was able to do, right? It gets better. It's crazy how much this class kind of like you think about it, man.
Turned up.
Like the quality, right? Like
Yeah.
every guy in this class that I mentioned so far, Kelby Collins and Jakeem, I haven't done much, but I think there's still a lot that they can do.
The potential was there, yeah, for sure.
TJ Seriously, I think did his part. Sharif Denson, my man was cooking last year. Expected to have a great year this year. Trayon Webb, another one who's
really ain't missed. He ain't missed, man.
Caden Jones, there's Will Norman's in this one. He had his I think issue with his mother. He transferred. I don't even think he even played again. So that was a whole another thing that happened there. Caden Jones, someone expected to be a big depth piece on the offensive line. Jaden Robinson, who was on Stadium Miguel tonight, who we know has been played out of his mind as a linebacker, a phenomenal piece in that linebacker room. Going to be, in my opinion, one of those silent killers / leaders in the linebacker room. It gets better. I'm not done, Steven. Bryce Thornton was in this class.
Yo.
Yes. And I'm still not done. Aaron Gates was in this class.
That's so crazy because, man.
I'm not done. Najee Harris, our starting left guard, was in this class. Jordan Castell, who was a treasure that freshman year, is in this class.
Gosh.
And then who's expected to be the starting right tackle this year, Bryce Lovett, was in this 2023 class. So this guys that didn't make it, Andy Jean, which look, wide receivers, if we're going to lose a guy, we lost him. Gavin Hill, who came in as a defensive lineman, he changed positions. He's at, I think, Bowling Green now, if I'm not mistaken. And then, of course, the two that I mentioned up above with Jakeem Jackson and Kelby Collins. So out of 22 commits, 4 left. 18 of them are
think about that, Shelton.
The guys.
Think about that, man. That's a lot of camaraderie right there. To look around with the landscape of college football and see that many guys that you came in with still there. And these guys got a lot of playing time and experience under their belt, man. And
Jacoby Jackson came in with that class too, by the way.
Look, you would forget that these guys were that young playing. You know what I mean? In pivotal roles. You know what I mean? And so you pair that with the class that came in after them and being there that amount of time together, man. These guys I'm looking forward to these guys, man, doing really big things this year, man. That bonding, that time together. You guys are the leaders on this team. You're the voices on the team. You've been through all the fire, you know what I mean, with the coach.
They've seen
played big roles, y'all. Yeah, this is it.
Hey, Damian George and Kalen Banks also transferred in with that class.
This is it.
Dude, it's crazy to see. Again, when you think about that
it goes by so fast.
Yeah, when you go back to that year, you don't look at those names and think of what it could be. Because again,
the impact that they had that they have now, you wouldn't have looked at it then and said they're gonna do this.
Bryce Thornton, not nationally ranked. Aaron Gates, not nationally ranked. Najee Harris, not nationally ranked. Jordan Castell,
no talent,
not nationally ranked. Bryce Thornton, not nationally ranked. Jacoby Jackson, not nationally ranked. Damian George was an internal transfer from Alabama, so was a big-time guy coming out, was a 3-star in the transfer portal. And then Caleb Banks was I would say, a higher-end transfer. So out of all those guys that I just mentioned, I mean, just think about that. But yeah, the evaluation's there, man, and it's cool to see that kind of come full circle. Right? If you go look at an Ole Miss class or a Texas A&M class, there's somebody there.
Even in his recruiting of the coaches or the staff that he put together, he put together guys that know what it should look like too. So they're going after guys that they like. How we got Jacoby Jackson, the running back coach. He was at the little school, and the running back coach seen him. One of his friends said, "Hey, look at this guy." He went to go watch him work out. And brought him to Bill. He was like, "We need him, Jack Cheese." They call him Jack Cheese.
So
and it was, we went and got him.
85 scholarships we have.
Yeah.
So 26% of the roster comes from this year. kind of cool. Just cool. Just look, a little reminiscent. I mean, I don't know. What you take
Well,
take with what you will with it, but
well, you said that's 17. You said 17 players? Or, no, 18.
well, I think it was 18, and then the transfer guys puts it 23,
That's
21.
11. Yeah, that's an amazing number, bro.
Yeah,
That's an amazing number to have that many people that have been from that class staying together that long.
yeah,
I wonder what's it like compared to the rest of some of these teams for that same class
yeah. That's an interesting point. Like
in
the
the
teams that
SEC.
we're talking about. Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be.
how
I
many
don't know.
players stayed from that class, from those
Let's.
classes?
I can
Because that
probably,
means a lot, bro. That means a lot.
especially like when I look at this Florida team from the basketball perspective. And look, this is where this team coming in next year is super talented, but there's a level of bleeding together, losing
Vibe,
together, right? That
got a
plays
mesh.
a huge factor into that. Let's look at LSU. They're highly favored. They finished fourth that year or fifth that year. Um, I don't think these guys are still here. I could be wrong, but yeah, their best player, their two best guys are gone. I don't know the team like by the back of my hand to know,
You
but
got your two best guys gone already.
well, to be fair, ours were gone too. So
Yeah.
this is gonna take too long because I don't know who's still
Wait,
there.
which two? Which two was our two best of that year?
Kelby Collins and Jakeem Jackson were the highest
Okay.
rated out of that class.
Yeah.
Yeah, LSU's not. They've got a couple of guys. Yeah, they're not the same. They've got some top tier guys that are. It's not as consistent, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're 4-star safeties at TCU. Their 4-star quarterback Ricky Collins, he's not there. I don't think. No, he's at Syracuse. That's what I thought. Yeah. Another 4-star safety Ryan Yates. He's not there. So yeah, that class isn't. I mean, it's already fallen apart, and I'm still in the 4-star range.
That's why you get a team that didn't break down when it got tough, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not. It's like there's like 2 LSUs and 3 knots, 2 LSUs, and yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. Again,
Yeah, we have to go through that, man, and
it'd
do
be
a
kind of a cool
breakdown
little
of that
thing.
just
Yeah, like to
to bring it
see.
back.
Yeah, those are
Yeah, I
small
want to
little
see.
nuances that I think again plays a huge factor into again just being with the same team, the same just cohesiveness, if you will.
You want to be like Billy said he was trying to build sustainability. You know what I mean? You can try to build a one hit wonder, but if you strike out, you Florida State.
Yeah, 100%. Boys and girls, I haven't talked to you about this. You're planning on going to this though, right? I think
Yeah,
that's
I
Silk got
saw it
with you.
already. Yeah.
Okay,
Hmm.
cool. I figured you would. I mean, I would beat you up if you didn't. Well, I tried to
Yeah.
anyways. Or hit you with my
I am
truck.
invited, right? You guys invited me.
You didn't get my joke there.
No. I heard you say something about beat me up.
I,
It
s- I
didn't
said I
register.
said or hit you with my truck. But we'll leave it. Alone. Come on now. Don't you stop it.
Yeah, all right.
You
Yeah.
stop it. You stop it.
I tell the story show. Don't make me
No,
tell it.
no. All
We
right.
got about 5 more years.
Yeah, we gotta
Statute
get
of
past it.
limitations.
Yes. All right. So look, guys, we're doing this incredible event that I'm super pumped about, and the boys are crushing it. Gators Breakdown and State Miguel, they're doing a phenomenal job of getting people and sponsorships. They're absolutely hammering this thing home. So we got to do our part and get some people there. We got to fill this thing up, man. Phenomenal idea. Silk came out, reached out to me and Breakdown. We're like, hey, this is what I want to do, and I
Yeah.
was like, yo, this is sick. Like, awesome. Shout out to Silk, man. The guy's got just big ideas and has
Ideas flowing left and right.
the vision to execute it, which is great. We're going to be getting together on July 27th at Magnitude Brewing in Gainesville, and
In the Ville, man.
we're bringing our idea of it is you have the SEC media, which is like 2 weeks prior to, which kind of you get everyone around and it's fun. The buzz is exciting. We want to do that. We want to bring that to the Ville. We believe that the logo, that this fan base is so big that we can create our own event that is surrounded with past players, current players. I know there are a few, I don't know if we can name drop yet, but I do know that current players, I think a DJ Lagway, I think may not be able to make it due to his scheduling because he's basically says I'm locking it down after a certain time to get prepared for the season. And that's pretty close to the end of the year.
For sure.
So that would be the only, I would say not, but plenty of other guys will be there hanging out.
Bringing all the former players for sure.
Yeah, doing a panel. We won't be signing autographs, but I know Stephen Harris will be there to sign autographs. asking questions. Just a good time for Gator fans to get together. You kind of a little bit of a kickoff for it. So link is in the description for that to come hang out with us. $25 get you in the door. Come hang out. I don't know if there's VIP packages. I think there might be, or I'm not quite sure. Maybe when you click on the link, there might be more that you can see. But get after it, boys.
And if you want to be a sponsor, make sure you hit up the number, man. Hit the email.
That is true. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. If you do want to sponsor, if you watch a show and you're part of, and you're local in Gainesville, say, hey, I want to be a part of this. Hit up the email down below. Says, hey, we watched the show. We want to be a part of it. Or you can message me. You can email me if you want to talk to me directly. But yeah, that's it. Already doing better than me, Steve. But yeah, if you do want to be a part of it, let me know for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna definitely be a great time, man. Especially, I don't know, all the independent media guys that are doing great big things. Got a big fan base. Gator Nation is everywhere. Nothing but great guys and good vibes. So I'm definitely gonna be letting all the former players know within my circle. So you guys definitely gonna get to see a lot of Gators and hang out. So
we gotta get Lewis Murphy out there.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
For sure.
Make it happen.
Yeah, I got you.
I'll
do it tonight.
And then also too, the merch store's up, boys. Links in the description for the High Top Sports new merch shop. We're live, kicking, we're rocking and rolling. Merch is flowing.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Y'all be good. We appreciate y'all. Great show as always. Thank you for hanging out with us on a beautiful Monday afternoon. That's Stephen Harris, the champ up of Sheldon. Till next time, we'll see you guys live Wednesday 8:35. Till then, baby. Peace and love.
Go Gators, baby. Rook. Look, my brother Jamar. We gonna smash the Canes, man. Don't even worry about that.